Hi. Oh my God, it's fun to be here. So I just need to get connected. When you build a presentation tool, you have to use it when you present. And we are in process of building download as PDF, so I have to use it from my computer. Let me see. Do we get it up on the big screen as well? Awesome. Okay. Hi, everyone. So my name is Eirik. I am from Curipod. And today I'm going to talk about, so my session is called Get Out of the Office. That's just my hint. I'm going to talk about how to make something people love. That's super, especially when you do self-serve like we do, but in all products. I'm from Curipod, and for those of you who haven't heard about us, we are a Norwegian edtech startup. So we build technology for teachers. We build an instructional presentation tool. You're experiencing it right now. I'm presenting with Curipod. I'm a co-founder, together with 2 others. I'm the COO and orange pants traveler. So as you see from my pants. And they have been one of the most important things we do with user research, because we figured out there are teachers everywhere, so we want to talk with them. So I'll just make sure I wear my orange pants anywhere I go. So if a teacher recognizes me, they can stop me and we can talk. To give you a little bit of background about what we do, so our main users right now are in the US, but we are also present all over the world. Every day we have 1,000 new teachers signing up to Curipod. So if that started around January this year, so if you do some math, you get approximately how many users we have. And we have each month around 340,000 monthly students participating in a Curipod session. And we just raised a 15 million NOK seed round. What I'm going to talk to you about with you today is our process of user discovery and user research. And I'm an economist by education, but I've spent my last 4 years learning everything I can about building something people love. And to break it really easy down to how we usually do it, it's understand your users and iterate fast. I'm not blowing up any big new reveals yet. And the standard principle for doing this has usually been like qualitative interviews. You have some hypothesis, you design an interview, you sit down with your users and you try to understand them. Or you can do quantitative research to get more data in. We met a problem with that approach, and that is the fact that we need to build something people love, and love is a feeling. And it's a lot more like, it's really hard to read love, especially if you interview Norwegians. It's really hard to identify love. It's a bit easier with Americans. They are a bit more open up about their feelings, but it's essentially really hard to identify love, both through qualitative interviews and quantitative research. So we do things that don't scale. And it's super easy to say as a startup, right? We started out with 3 people and no money. Then you have to do things that don't scale. But we still do it. And what we do most of is participate together with our users and observe their feelings. So here you see a picture of me. As you see, I only have 1 outfit, and I've used it for the last 3 years. I have 5 pair of orange pants, though. But this is my favorite thing in the world. It's my new suitcase cover. Teacher, come talk to me. I spend a lot of time in airports, and I figured a lot of our users are in airports. So I covered my suitcase with this, and suddenly I get to do a user interview every time I walk through an airport. I have a lot of fun with that. But what I'm going to take you through is how we use this process in 3 of our most major decisions like we've done as a startup. And the first one was pivoting away from a 2 million NOK annual recurring, like a product we had 2 million NOK in annual recurring revenue on. If you work in a big company, that might not be a lot, but when you are 3 people and you have no money, 2 million is a lot of revenue on your product. So that's the first decision. The second is go to the US. Why did we leave Norway and spend all of our time in the US? And why don't we build our most requested feature? So all of these decisions are made with this way of doing product discovery. And the first one is pivot. There is two reasons that picture is there. One, because I love friends, and two, because it's really hard to get to take a picture in a Norwegian school and use it in a presentation. They're really strict on student data privacy. So I use this as stand. But like, what did we do? So to give you the short story, our first product was for universities, and it was an interactive forum to get a lot of students discussing. Our problem has been the same thing through our whole journey. It has been, how do we get more students to ask questions? First product, university, student-focused. And during COVID, we sold it to almost every Norwegian university. It was used a lot. And if you looked at our metrics, it was a great product. Like, one, we sold it, so it was a willingness to pay. Two, students told us they loved it, so we got a lot of great user feedback, and it was used every day. We had high retention, we had high activation. It had all of the marks of a good product. But how we've always done it is we've said, like, we just want to spend as much of time possible in the settings our users are. So we try to spend at least like 2 days a week in the universities, in the lecture halls. And what we observed was that the professors were not smiling when they talked about Curipod, right? Again, that feeling of building something people love. And after like just a lot of days in those lecture halls, we realized that we had built something the wrong people loved. Because the student told us how fantastic it was, then administrators told us how fantastic it was. It did not solve the professor's problem. We created a lot of extra work for the professor. And even though that worked really well for our business model then, like selling to Norwegian universities, we realized this will never scale, because these professors will not talk to their peers about how great this product is. So again, that realization that this is not something they love, we got it from being outside in the lecture halls. So we scrapped the product, and we started working on the problem again. And that was a hard sell to all your, we were in the middle of a funding round. So that was not a fun thing to tell all your investors while you're trying to raise new money, that we're scrapping this product. But the next decision we used this process on was, we built something, and we're stepping a bit ahead. We reiterated, we built something, and we had something Norwegian teachers really loved. But we knew we needed to get out in the world, because you can't, like, the Norwegian market is too small to build an edtech company in. The European market might be too small. So we had a big decision ahead of us. Are we going to the UK or the US? Why did we narrow it down to them? Well, Australia was out of the question because time zones. UK and US was definitely running because they speak English and we speak English. So like, it would be hard starting out with a new language. US is of course a bigger market, but the UK is also a large market, and they're a lot more comfortable when you work from Norway. Spoiler alert, I'm arranging a virtual conference next week. I will be up from 11 to 2 in the middle of the night to host that conference. So we ended up with the US. But how did we make that decision? We had users in both countries, and if we looked at the metrics, the retention was really similar, the activation was really similar, and the super users were really similar. So we had approximately equal many super users in the UK and US. They used us in the same way. It was really hard to make that decision. So what we did was, I sent out an email to 1,000 principals in the UK, and 1,000 principals in New York, and 1,000 principals in Texas, asking them, hey, can I come and just join a student or a teacher for a day of observation? And I got a lot of replies. So we spent 2 weeks traveling around the UK, just shadowing teachers and students. And then we spent 2 weeks in Texas and 2 weeks in New York doing the exact same thing. And then we started to get some realizations. Because again, that same thing that happened in the lecture halls, it happened here. We observed completely different feelings in the classroom as a whole. So when the UK teachers used Curipod, They used it in a similar way to the Americans, but they didn't smile as much. It was a different feeling. The students weren't as engaged. It was a completely different feeling being inside that classroom. And that doesn't mean that alone doesn't mean that that would be a bad decision for us to go for the UK. But we're also built and I've seen a lot of great lectures today talking about this. When you do design, you also have to think about business, right? And one of our most important business strategy is to build a brand. And that brand is about excitement for learning, and it's about engagement. And then it's so important that that is the feeling we actually manage to create with our users. So we spent a lot of time in the UK, then we went to the US and observed something completely different. The teachers had so much fun, they were smiling, there was laughter in the classroom, there was excitement. And you don't observe it it's not like you go into a classroom and woo! You see it in a second. But after spending just one day there, one day there, one day there, and of course with some hypotheses in the back of our head, but not that much, we really realized that the US was a much better fit for us. The first picture here is us visiting Eton. They actually responded to my cold email and invited us for a day. I was super happy. And the next one is us being invited to breakfast by a US principal. So you get to experience a lot when you go traveling around meeting your users. The last one I'm going to do here is why did we not build our most requested feature? All our users ask for a quiz. They want a quiz, and I understand them, use the quiz a lot. But we wanted to understand what they do when they don't use Curipod. So we again sent out an email to all of our users, hey, can we visit you? So this up here, the lovely lady here is Brenda. One of our users, she invited Ellen, she is in the middle with the kids here, our product manager, to live with her for a week on her farm in West Virginia. So Ellen was shadowing her the whole week, learning all about what she did. And she observed some patterns that really made us realize why we're not supposed to build a quiz. Because again, it creates different feelings than what we did. Now I'm going to try to stay on time here as well. So when you have spent all your time building an interactive presentation tool, it's because you really believe presentations should be a two-way conversation. So my last part of this, I want you to ask some questions about our journey. So you can take up your phone, scan the QR code, and join in here. Awesome. And if you're, we'll give it a few more. I see someone got Friendly Lusk. That's the name of our developer's cat. He likes to sneak it in here. And if you still want to go in, you can just go to cura.live and enter that pin in the top, but I'm going to start it. So you have 1 minute to ask any questions you want about our journey or our decisions. I'm going to start it again so more people get in. Yeah, I'm going to start it again so more people get in. Oh, my internet is bugging me. No. I'm on a hotspot here, but the internet is being blocked. Huh? Yeah, it's the internet blocking it. It's the firewall here. No, that's been our most common problem here is finding firewalls. That's what I've been spending my last 3 months doing. It's traveling around the US, figuring out which firewalls that the schools are using and unblocking us. So here we're blocked apparently from my computer. Then I'm going to rather spend the last 2 minutes iterating again on what I think is the most important thing here. So my key takeaway from my lesson is I don't think it's not possible to do what we do every day when you're a really big company. And I think the most scary part of doing it is that you open yourself up to realizing your users do not love your product. But that is also the best thing that can happen, because if you want to build something people love and they don't love it, you need to iterate. So I think what I want to recommend, one takeaway from my session is, I have it here. Let's find it. Do things that don't scale. Even though you don't have a complete plan for it, just spend a day in the shoes of your users, following them around, see what they do when they don't use your system, and learn from it. Thank you so much, everyone.